Welcome to the online classes of St. Joseph English School. Today we will learn the continuation of the first lesson, Rise of British Rule in India. In the first part we have seen that many Europeans came to India. They got power little by little after the Battle of Plassey and also after the Battle of Buxar. Today we learn about expansion of British rule, in how the British expanded their empire in India. So as a first step, what they did in British government passed regulating act. British government passed regulating act in 1773. Passed regulating act is in 1773 to regulate the trade in India. Before that one, these traders were taking profit that was not known by the British Parliament. So through regulating act, what they made? They made the governor's post into Governor General and made the post Governor General. Then, like that way, the first Governor General of India was Warren Hastings. He was the Governor of Bengal, and he was made the first Governor General according to the Regulating Act in 1773. Regulating Act of 1773. Then he fought. His aim, all the British Governor General's aim was to expand the British Empire here. So they fought many battles with Marathas, and also in the south we can see Hyder Ali and Tipu. One after the other, the Governor Generals came, they fought battles with them. Whenever they felt a little weak, they got the support of the local rulers and fought them. Marathas were the very strong people in India, and in the south Hyder Ali and Tipu were very strong. It was not easy to conquer them, so through trick and all they made this conquest, and later they got the power. So first Governor General was Warren Hastings. After him, Lord Cornwallis became Governor General. After him, Cornwallis became Governor General. He also fought war with these Marathas, and later next came Sir John Shore, and after him Lord Wellesley. So Lord Wellesley implemented or introduced a new policy to make the British East India Company supreme here. That was the subsidiary alliance system. So according to this system, those states who joined the system have to adopt the conditions mentioned in the policy. According to that, the first condition was that the army trained by the East India Company government will be provided to the state that accept the system. Means the state which accept the system of subsidiary alliance system will get the army trained by the East India Company. So the security purpose, the kings or the rulers had not to do anything with that. In return, as they are giving us this favor, we have to give back. So in return, the state accepting the system will provide for the army or give away provinces with equivalent income to the British. So expenditure of the army has to be provided by the rulers. If they are not able to provide that expenditure, the part of their provinces have to give away to them. So that way British will get the that provinces. Next, third one is Without the permission of the company, the state will not wage a war or sign treaty with other states. The states, those who joined in the subsidiary alliance system, are not allowed to wage a war with any other rulers or make any treaty. If it has to do, that has to be known to the British. Then fourth one is, there will be one English representative in the state assembly. In the state assembly, one English representative will be there. So without the knowledge of English, with the rulers cannot do anything related to their province. Then the last one is, other foreigners not to be employed in the state. So we know that before the British, French, Dutch, Portuguese and all came into India, and they also had trade centers. So according to this treaty, subsidiary alliance system, then other foreigners are not to be employed in the state. Means state cannot employ other foreigners in that state. So that means the whole state, those who joined the system, will be totally under the control of a British East India Company. And many states joined in this system. The first was Nizam of Hyderabad. First Nizam of Hyderabad joined in this system. Then Mysore, Audh, Gaikwad, Scindia, Bhonsle, Golkar, like that many rulers joined. In the beginning, this was like a sweet poison. We know that poison is always dangerous. Sweet poison we have not heard. So in the beginning they thought that they don't have to do anything in their country, in their province. Everything will be done by the British. Later only they understood that the dangerous aspects of this subsidiary system. So before that, these provinces have all gone to British government. After Wellesley, Lord Hastings came. He waged war with the Gurkhas of Nepal and also the Pindaris, and so they got a strong support for their army. Later, John William Bendick became the Governor General. He was known as the Liberal Governor General because he believed that the dissatisfaction in the different states due to the imperialist policy adopted by the previous Governor Generals could not bring about any unity. Means there may not be any unity in the state because of the previous Governor General's rule. So he was a very liberal in his deeds. Later came Dalhousie. The next we can see Dalhousie. His only aim was to expand British Empire. For that, he adopted the policy annexation. Through 5 different methods, he annexed the different provinces to the British Empire. The first was annexation by war. So he conquered this war with Punjab, Pegu and all, and annexed that one. Secondly, annexation due to the king dying without heir. The ruler is not having any own son, then that state is annexed to British Empire. Next, annexation on the pretext of mismanagement. If any ruler is not managing, not administering the state well, that also annexed to the British government. Again, annexation on the pretext of debt collection. So many rulers were the debtors of a British government. So if they were not able to pay the debt, their provinces or states also joined with the British government. The last was, there were some states only the namesake rule was there. So that also annexed to the British government. So according to this annexation policy, many provinces or many states were annexed to British East India Company. Besides being an imperialist, Dalhousie was an reformist also. Many good reforms also established by this Dalhousie. So first railway line between India, Mumbai and Thane. In 1853, first railway line between Mumbai and Thane was established. wireless system, and public work department, English education, etc. were introduced in his tenure. He also passed laws to ban child marriage and advocated widow remarriage. So within the 100 years from the Battle of Plassey, we know that the Battle of Plassey took place in 1757 and up to the 1857. This 100 years, this British exploited the Indian people. But in 1857 only, the first time Indians reacted against the British. The next we'll see the impact of British rule in India. So what impact led to the British rule in India? What happened in our economics and social life? So economically, if we say, India had an enviable position in the world in the previous centuries. It has become merely a country that produces raw material for England and a prospective market for goods produced in factories. So English factories got raw materials from India and they made goods in their factories, again brought back the goods to the Indian market, and they forced the Indians to buy that market, and also they forced the Indians to cultivate the crops which is needed to them. So the policy they adopted was not favorable to India. Because of that, this unfair revenue policy, the company made the Indian peasant a debtor. British government imposed unfair taxes on the Indian cloth industries. They adopted various deceitful practices to ruin the prosperous Indian industries. And in short, we can say all Indians, Indian artisans, peasants, farmers, all became unemployed. Then before, Indian villages were very self-reliant and prosperous, but under the company rule they became dependent and poor. Then in the social impact, if we see, during the British administration, the spirit of freedom of speech and thought developed among the people due to the development of newspapers. When we started to read the newspapers, the spirit of freedom of speech and thought that developed, that later that became the cause for the reforms in India. Indian society that time was prevailed with many evil customs. We know that sati, child marriage, dowry system, etc. So many reformers were here, that Raja Ram Mohan Rai, Durga Ram Mehta and all. And through their hard work, these British Governor Generals passed laws against this evil practices. Another important action done in the administration only. As the administrative framework in India was anglicized, there was a demand for people with knowledge of English. So all the administration came under that English language. So the people who know English is a must for this administration. So they began to impart education in English. Later they established universities in Mumbai, Madras and Kolkata. So a whole class of people with knowledge of English developed because of English education. With the passage of time, this group made demands for social reforms and gave momentum to the process of reforms. So this educated class played an important role later in the history of India to get the freedom and all that we will see in different chapters. So if we conclude this one, East India Company came to India allured by the prosperity and trade opportunity. The company rule in India produced certain good and bad results in the political, economic, social and cultural fields. Company adopted the policy of making England prosperous at the cost of India, and the reforms they made in the administration for their own interests indirectly proved to be beneficial for India. Everything, all administrative policies they did for their purpose only, their benefit only, but indirectly, especially the railway system, steamer system, English education and all, indirectly benefited to India. So we can see the important years mentioned in this lesson. So first 1453 AD, the Turks conquered Istanbul, the trade center. Then 1498 discovery of new sea route to India. 1600 English East India Company was established. 1757 Battle of Plassey was fought, and 1764 Battle of Buxar was fought, and in 1773 Regulating Act was passed and they regulated East India Company's trade in India. So we completed this, the first chapter, the rise of British rule in India. You can read the exercise part and start writing question answers in the notebook. Thank you.